All right, I'm gonna wait. Some folks kind of try to get in here. Hopefully, somebody stops by tonight. Just taking a look at some of the cyberpunk stuff, like more in depth than what I did last go around the gaming discussion. We didn't really get too in depth in a lot of stuff. Just talk about how much how long the storyline and everything like that was supposed to be. But now that we've got people who have actually come out and been like, "Hey, I played the game and we've got all these reviews." Now we're seeing that the storyline is like 30 hours. They say that if you just do the main storyline, you can get it knocked out in like 30 hours, but it cuts out a lot of the bloat. So it's actually not too bad of a thing if you think about it, because more people are going to be willing to take and actually just roughshod straight through the main story to take and get that experience, and then later on come back, maybe take some more time. But yeah, 30 hours. That's kind of, for those of us who like to take and get fully immersed into a game, 30 hours for a main storyline, kind of disappointing. Then again, like I said, I mean, I've seen people take and go through some of the bigger Final Fantasies, even like Final Fantasy VII. I've seen them take and go through that like 40 hours, 30 hours. So I mean, really, it's kind of par for the course. Like The Witcher 3 took some heat from people because the main storyline was so long. Even in Skyrim, you could take and get to it in like 35, 40 hours, just running straight through everything. But with the side quests and things like that, it's going to be a little bit longer, like way longer. Apparently, just from everything I've been reading. Yeah, we'll take and get into that here in a second. So I'm going ahead and been having some not so great reviews come out for it, which I think maybe, just maybe. Let me find the one I was looking for. Everybody's going crazy over the GameSpot review. I'll be honest with you. I looked at the girl's Twitter that took and actually wrote up the article, and yeah, there's a lot of like Tetris and stuff like that, but she also mentions like Death Stranding, which completely different type of game. So I'm wondering with her, with her review and the critiques that she has on it, maybe she's not. You can't say, oh, they've never played that type of game, because you take a look through the Twitter history. There's definitely reference to having games that are similar in maybe not scope, but similar build. So I'm wondering if that might be, if just the overall, not only just overall how big this game is supposed to be, but also the fact that a game's just come out, you're on a time crunch. You're not going to be able to take and actually do a lot of the side missions. Like somebody who's able to dedicate time and effort to the games, able to take and actually put through and go through multiple side quests and storylines and character arcs and things of that nature. I'm wondering if that's not the case here. Because the thing about it is, which here I'll take and do a screen share. Go ahead and get into it with GameSpot. Says very early on, apparently there's a bunch of side quests to track down taxis run by faulty AI and stuff like that. They talked about the way they took and built their character to take and be a hacker, but how it felt like life choices and stuff like that don't matter. If you're just playing the main, here's my question. Here's what I'm wondering, because I've seen this kind of repeated 2 or 3 times over, and these people are like, I spent about 40 hours in the game. I spent like, if you take and do multiple quests, like you do like massive amounts of side quests, you do massive amounts of like gigs and stuff like that, and you're able to take an upgrade even further than what maybe these game journos were able to take and do, how does that affect the way it feels whenever you hack or your options for hacking? That's kind of my question, because I don't think a lot of these reviews taking 30 hours to take and do the main quest. I spent 40 hours in the game for a game of this magnitude. I don't really think that's a whole lot of hours. So I'm kind of just, yeah. They talked about how many, just how many. One of the reoccurring critiques I see is there's a whole lot of stuff that don't add to the main story in this game. There's a whole lot of stuff you can do that don't add to the main story. Whole lot of stuff you can do to add to the main story. When we see all of them say, well, the cyberware that you can buy, it's expensive. Well, if you do these side quests and stuff like that, they give you the money that's needed to take and get some of the stuff later on. Well, they technically have a purpose, and they also, I think, maybe add to the immersiveness that they're not able to take and get into. Just having to take and basically do a roughshod, just run straight through it for the most part. Do side quests here and there. With a main story of 30 hours, them taking to spend a total of 40 hours, they might have spent 10 hours on the and that's being liberal on the side quests and stuff like that. It makes you wonder exactly how much more in depth this game gets than what some of the journals are saying. Because I've also watched some reviews from people who got the game early from CD Projekt Red, and they're like me. They were looking for all of those side things that you can do and the massive amounts of stuff that you can immerse yourself in. So I'm wondering if they weren't able to take and delve so deeply into the game, if that might have slanted their opinion of it. And we do also see the thing with the controversy that seems to be a sticking point for a lot of these people, which that's cool. I can understand, but it shouldn't slant your viewpoint so much that you ding it in other areas. All of them seem to take and want to compare it to The Witcher 3. They all talk about the glitches, but they all got early build. They all got, none of them had any patches to take and fix the bugs that's supposed to be coming out right there close to launch. So I mean, it makes you wonder exactly how biased some of the journals have went into it. How much time, if they were actually able to put more time towards some of the side quests and things of that nature, how much that would take and actually help their opinion of the game, or whether it would still be the same. Somebody said it's notable that despite my run and gun approach to the game's missions, I had play sessions that ran as long as 2 hours without a single bullet shot or punch thrown. That's called role playing. You have that you have stuff like that in role play. You've got this being derived from a tabletop game, Cyberpunk 2013 and the Cyberpunk 2020. You're going to have extended periods where you have more dialogue, you have more narrative to take and push things along than what you have. And I don't care what genre it is. I don't care if it's fantasy. I don't care if it's cyberpunk. You're going to have that more than the running gun or the hack and slash with the loots and everything else like that. You're going to have that more. You're going to have segments like that. You're going to have segments where it's more dialogue and narrative driven than it is with the running guns and stuff like that. Which, if you were going in, and I understand, they took and put the gameplay aspect at the forefront in their trailers. They're going to. That's how they're going to entice you to play the game. But if you know anything about role-playing games, especially if you've ever done a tabletop role-playing, then going in, there's going to be a lot of dialogue, a ton. One of the things they all did taken, basically one of the main themes that took and run through all of them, was the fact that it's a very beautiful city. It's for the most part enjoyable, but that there are some, like the main story, there's parts where for people it did not make sense to them, which I don't know. We'll take and I'll stop with that. Going ahead and start playing some videos here in a minute. Now, see, I will share this because this is what I think. This is where I think the game's going to take and really help content creators. Now, it says, and I'll go ahead and make this full screen. The game's intertwining main storylines follow V's increasing desperate attempts to disengage Psyche from Silverhand and to alert relevant people of the truth about the corporate murders. Many of the kinds of simplistic missions were all used in open world games. Go place X, steal item Y, return to point Z, which that's the truth for any kind of RPG you're going to play, regardless, because that's what's up, Rod. Cheers to you, homie. Hopefully you're doing good. I'm just taking and going over basically some of the stuff right now that's come out about the game, since you've got the game journos who have had access to the game for weeks for some of them. I think with content creators, though, what's going to take and really help them is the map is absolutely packed with the, let's see, where did I just see that? There we go. There are side gigs that serve as character-driven story vignettes, unfolding slowly over a series of missions that open up entire, previously unknown corners of Night City's world. That right there, I believe, is going to help content creators, especially the ones that take and like make the movies and stuff, the movie style gameplays almost. Like they'll play a game and they'll basically make a movie out of either a mission or a quest line in a game that most of us just play and we don't think nothing about. I think that's going to be surprisingly popular with content creators, especially because there's so many different ways you could go about creating content on something that is character driven, which means your character, regardless, whereas the main story, it wasn't really about V all that much, your player, it's more the side stories where you get to take and see the character development and stuff like. I think they did that for a reason, regardless of everybody's criticism of it. And I understand the reason why they would criticize them doing it that way. They've got, you can take and you can have a, you can turn off all the copywritten music. So that way, if you're streaming the game, you don't get any copyright claims or you don't get DMCA takedowns. And they've also got, because they've got the spicy adult stuff in the game, they've turned that option off where you don't see anything. So you don't get your video taken down or your stream taken down because a pair of boobies pops up on screen. So the fact they've got those two right there tells me they made this game to be as enjoyable and immersive as possible, but also to give content creators ways of creating numerous amounts of content within the game scope. And I think that right there is a point that a lot of these game journals have missed, is the fact that this game was created not only for people's enjoyment, but also very much with content creators, but very much because we've started development in 2012. In the last 6-7 years, streaming has become so mainstream. You've got some of the bigger influencers and entertainment people that are into Twitch and YouTube realm. So I think they made this game and made stuff to where you can do what you want with your character to take and tell your story the way you see fit, independent of the main storyline. And I don't think a lot of the game journals kind of caught that. A lot of it's been on the whole transphobia that they are taking and claiming that the game has in it. Right now, trans rights are a very big thing, rightfully so. That being said, when you take a look into a dystopian future, whereas right now people are looking for rights, when if you've got a very corporate, materialistic, capitalistic world where corporations take and rule the roost, they are the government essentially. Well, people that are looking for those rights at some point in time are bound to be, how do you take and put it? It's bound to be they're being used. They'll be used, and I think that's kind of what they're showing on this. It's a kind of that angle. I don't think they probably went out the best way due to some controversy, but that's just what you get in a corporate dystopia. You've got people that are underserved that fight for stuff, and then they're profited off of. Essentially, they're made to be examples just so they can profit. So I think that's one of those things that the game journals, I think, for the most part, miss with some of it. Now, not having not played it yet, just knowing how role play games are, knowing the cyberpunk genre itself, and the motifs and everything like that, and the mindset behind it, we've seen that example happen over and over and over again in movies. Where cyberpunk is concerned, it's not just all about the tech and everything like that, even though it's a leading part of it. It's also about people being exploited for corporate purposes and for corporate gain. And I think that's what they're trying to take and get across with that. I won't even go to the character creation that people are fussing about. But so real quick, I do want to take a look at another thing they added specifically for content creators, because I think this is pretty neat, because I wish this was something they would have put in something like Assassin's Creed Valhalla. And this is a photo mode trailer. Now, tell me something. The ability to do something like this isn't going to take and give you, as a content creator, massive amounts of freedom on how you want your next thumbnail to look. Because I'll be honest with you, I'm going to be using this definitely for thumbnails. The photo mode, I will definitely use that for thumbnails. But I'm gonna tell you, I've always liked open world, and I understand your critique of it, of games like games that are open world and RPG and stuff like that. I completely understand it, because I've played games like that as well. This right here, I think, once everything's said and done, all the bugs are worked out and everything, I think this is really going to be one of those games that just kind of blows people away big time. There's a lot of controversies surrounding this game before this even before these game reviews took and come out and stuff like that, just on some of the marketing. But yeah, I think once people dig into it, they're gonna be like, "Holy crap!" So yeah, but I'm definitely going to be using this. And just look at the options that you've got within this photo mode. Like I said, this is like a content creator's dream. It's like a content creator's wet dream almost, because a lot of games in game, you're not able to take and just stop it at a spot to take that picture, to take that screenshot, and then add stuff like this to it. So that way you can use it for either promotional material for an upcoming playthrough, an upcoming stream, for your thumbnail. I mean, the possibilities with this as a content creator, between the storylines and stuff like that and stuff like this, it's just, you can't tell me they didn't make this with content creators in mind. Regardless of how storylines and everything else goes, they've definitely made this. absolutely insane what you're going to be able to take and do, like for real. That's I can't wait. I'm just being honest. I cannot wait for this game to release. And it says on the 10th, but I'll be able to, people that have pre-ordered, especially if you're on PC, you can start playing on the 9th at 7 p.m. And you bet that I'm going to be having some content come out whenever the embargo is lifted at 3 a.m. Thursday morning, because it's past midnight everywhere in the world, and it's the 10th everywhere in the world at that point in time. 30-hour main quest, but over 100 hours worth of side quests, side missions type stuff, and even character-driven vignettes and storylines. So storylines for the character outside of the main quest for that immersive experience that you don't get in a lot of other games. That, like I said, that gives you the ability as a content creator, or even as a person who enjoys role-playing games and an immersive experience, to take and create a narrative outside of the main story in the world that, or the game world that you've gotten into. It gives you reason to stay there, because you will do this and you get this story arc. I'm going to do this and it gets that story arc. I'm going to do this. So you get character development, you get world development, you get faction development, basically, because you do stuff that takes and improves and decreases your standing with different factions. I can't wait. Absolutely cannot wait for this game. And just so I can, let me bring up. And see, this is another thing that I'm looking forward to. People that have played it and done the reviews, they say that the driving the cars in this game is very much to get you from point A to point B. It's not anything like GTA, which that was one of the things a lot of people have said. Looks like a reskin of GTA, but the driving in this is apparently a lot looser to what you get in GTA. Is to get you from point A to point B. However, they got some stylish rides, and we're about to take a look at some of those real quick.
In a huge open world like Night City, you need a chill ride to get around fast. And in Cyberpunk 2077, there are tons of cool vehicles to choose from.
Get this. 4-liter engine, 6-cylinder, goes from 0 to 100 in 3.2 seconds. You fucking believe that?
We've crafted every car and motorbike with amazing attention to detail. On the chassis, the body, not to mention the interiors. You can expect everyone not only to look unique, but to deliver a unique driving experience.
I like the different options for how you can drive it. Third person, first person.
Don't expect advanced tech or luxurious materials here. Nuh-uh.
Yeah, it's not the size that counts, I guess.
This class is mostly utility vehicles and low-end clunkers made for every pocket.
Hold on. It's a wreck.
Uh-huh. My damn wreck.
Well, definitely no guy or girl magnet.
If you need to impress, look to this class alone.
Bentleys of the
Ride on the
future.
line. Either you match it in cash, or you can forget about the fight.
With these wheels, no expense has been spared, no frill ignored. Their plush interiors decked out in all the latest tech, while you get to sit back and enjoy the ride. Masterful engineering and practical design. Trucks and tanks for when you need power and brute force.
Hell of a machine.
Neat beast.
Now, see, it shows them taking and reaching in and grabbing people out. You actually have to take and put points, your skill points. You have to put skill points into actually hijacking a vehicle. So that's not something you can just naturally do in the game. You actually have to work up to that point. So, and even then, you kind of run the risk of getting shot.
My pride and joy.
And these monsters are literally unstoppable. These are for chooms who love the smell of exhaust and the roar of street wildlife. Their powerful engines and exchangeable parts make them perfect for tuning.
Come on! I want to smell that choo-choo burn!
Whether it's street racing, running from the NCPD, or just showing off in the streets, with these high-powered beasts, you will have only respect.
Oh yeah, like that!
If you need speed and armor, the Hypercar class is for you. It means precise bodywork, built-in LiDAR arrays, and really expensive materials.
Imagine you're sitting on a pile of eddies. Probably less than 1,000 people in the world can afford the Erendite.
Not your typical urban vehicle.
They will take you places you never dreamed you'd go. Oh, and original vehicles are not all you'll find in 2077. We also found room on our roster for some true automotive icons.
Floor it, V.
Well, that last one definitely looked like it was going to be a Porsche just with the headlights and the steering wheel and some of the sculpting that they showed. I'm so ready for this game to drop. It's not even funny. I tell you, the wait has been something else. We thought it was going to be released in April, got pushed back, and I kind of understand. Well, I do understand COVID and all that good stuff. That and the new gen supposed to be dropping, that we're going to be dropping this year. I think, really, for marketing purposes, is genius pushing it back this far, because really, at this point, what's out there? What's big being released around the same time? Not a thing. The biggest thing that was released at this time was a couple weeks back. You had Assassin's Creed Valhalla, and then you had the Call of Duty game being dropped. And that's about it for the end of the year. So I think it was stroke of genius them doing this. Waiting until this point in time to release it. So, yeah. I tell you what, I wasn't going to take and have this run too long. It's just, I'm so hyped about this game. So hyped about this game. Like, I cannot wait for this thing to come out. At this point, everybody's got, we'll watch this one as well. 2077 in style, so we'll see some of the style stuff. We're not able to see any of the actual gameplay yet that people have been doing with those that have had the copies of the game, been able to play it early. Haven't been able to take and see anything, so we still got to kind of use some of this stuff. Just even with the negative stuff I've heard, reading in between the lines of some stuff, I think they've taken and missed because they're only able to do short segments. I did 40 hours in the game, and the main storyline is between 30 and 40 hours. You can take and do some side quests, take and add it to 40 hours, even more if you want to get more immersive. So having to take a rough shot at it, I think just reading, like, there's so much stuff to do that doesn't even tie into the main storyline. It doesn't have to. It doesn't have to. It doesn't have to at all. It's there for your enjoyment. So if you want to take and you're tired of running the main storyline, you can go do something else and then go back to the storyline. It gives you a break in game from taking and following the main stuff. And they have said that there's stuff that you'll take and there's stuff that you can do outside the main storyline to affect the main storyline and even beat the main storyline without completely doing the main storyline, which you could do that in Skyrim with some stuff. So take a look at this real quick as well. This is a style, 2077 in style.
Welcome to the brief authoritative history of Night City. This chapter is devoted to so-called styles. deeply linked with the history of the world and a very important aspect of life in the city. You can find them everywhere. In cars, clothes, guns, implants. They are your war paint. As one of our sponsors says, it matters not if you're dead, as long as you're doing it in style.
The moves on this girl. Swoosh, swoosh. Slice them up like sashimi.
4 visual styles are evident in the Night City of 2077, each with its own history, status, and features. Neon hair, illuminated tattoos, and chrome. Function comes second. Looks are what matter.
So you got a lot of that right now, just without the cybernetics.
Stanley here with you, and we got another day ahead of us in this city of dreams.
The Fourth Corporate War broke out, and entropism was born. Vast and deep crises forced people to find ways to survive by any means. Getting the job done, no matter how, was the primary goal. The look? Who cares?
I love this town. Love it like you might love a mother who popped you out on the steps of an orphanage once and now stops you to ask if you got a smoke for her.
Fuck them. Fuck this job. Fuck this city.
Deadly elegance without ostentation. Corporate militaristic fashion, mostly seen in the wealthier parts of town. Substance over style, that's the motto.
So the whole walk softly, carry a big stick type motif. You just you don't have to dress real flashy, just as long as folks know that you're deadly.
Celebrities, brain dance stars, business magnates, heirs to corporate fortunes and corporate executives. They abandoned the cold, deadly elegance of neo-militarism and returned to the roots of kitsch, but gave it a fresh, new look.
Oh shit, these hands. Sometimes it seems like I just brushed something and sparks fly.
Thank you for your attention. We wish you a very pleasant stay in our marvelous metropolis. Good luck and goodbye.
NC's Legends. Know where you'll find most of them?
Yeah. I definitely. Cheers, Trevor. Hopefully you're doing good, man. Dude, I'm so hyped about this game, but I know. Yeah. Anyways, yeah, bro. Well. Actually, I went over before anybody actually showed up too much. I think Rod caught the tail end of some of the article stuff I was going over. There's some game journos that spent 40 hours within the game and apparently weren't all that impressed. I think they kind of missed the forest for the trees a little bit. There's a lot of stuff you can do without it taking a tie into the game. It just makes no sense to taking it's fluff stuff that you can do. It doesn't take a tie into the main storyline at all because everybody's used to like quests, side quests and stuff like that having to tie into a storyline that they can give you context or some kind of reward towards the main storyline. So yeah, already been over some of that and give my thoughts on it, which everybody has their own unique way of looking at things, which is cool. I think this will be the last video, and then like I said, didn't want to make it too long of a stream, but yeah, I think this will be the last video, and then I had to take and do some recording for tonight, which more gameplay for the RPG that I put out, RPG that playthrough that I put out this morning, Haven. Part 2 of that will come out tomorrow, and part 3 probably the day that Cyberpunk 2077 drops, and then I'll have to take an alternate so I can continue to do the playthrough on that. And And see, that's exactly what I was saying. You can beat it in under 30 hours, but this is, dude, the stuff they added, like we took a look at the photo mode, and then there being stuff that you can do that's character driven. It's like I was saying earlier, this is like a content creator's dream because you got so many people that take and play these games, they get so in depth, but you also got people that play them and get in depth, and they'll take stuff like the side quest, they'll take like character driven stuff and turn that into movie style features for their channel and stuff. And I think you're gonna have a whole lot of that. Also, these people that take and role play within a game itself, at like voicing their character and stuff like that. It being character driven like that, you're going to see a lot of stuff like that as well on YouTube pop up after this game comes out. That photo mode and all the stuff you can do outside the main story, that's exactly where everybody's going to spend their time. Exactly. That's the other thing. Like I said, these game journalists and stuff like that, I spent 40 hours in the game, and basically, I did a little bit of the side quest stuff, a couple of the gigs, and bloody. That right there, you can beat the game without doing any story. So you ain't even got to take and do the main storyline and can beat the game. So, yeah, you don't normally see that all that much. Here we go. Share audio.
You know how things work in Night City? The stronger survive, but that's how things stand. You're either somebody, or you fizzle out into nothing.
Then C ain't a city that lets you get by without buddies.
Be very careful, my friend. We are all so far from home.
Which gang's the city's biggest and baddest, according to the NCPD?
That is not a very big map at all from what it's showing. Like for the main city itself, I mean, even that's not a very big map, but I noticed the verticality that's within all of this though. So I don't either. And I think a lot of the game journos with the transphobic controversy that people took and attached to the game due to one of the in-game advertisements. I think a lot of people's mindset as well is going from that instead of actual gameplay and what you could do within the game. I think that's a lot of it too. But yeah, the verticality within this game, that's a lot of more area if you're able to take and actually be in these buildings and take and have to do missions or even side quests and stuff like that up and down in this, because that adds a lot more area to what you're going to be playing than just a map size.
The city's biggest and baddest, according to the NCPD.
Scavs hold the body count title. Or Maelstrom, depending on the season.
One time, a Maelstrom ganger killed a young kid right in front of my eyes for shits and giggles.
Chrome-sucking psychos.
And who the fuck are you to say what can and can't be? I'm gonna introduce you to our meat grinder. About time we had some fun! Think Maelstrom never forgets? Never!
I hate these Borg fuckers.
Just a gang like any other, right?
I'll take the Valentinos. They follow God and the Santa Madre. Honor means something to them.
How'd you meet Jackie?
We started out together.
In the Valentinos?
No, in the fucking Bible book club.
I gotta give style points to the Valentinos.
That's what I've been hearing too. It's so dense with the population and everything like that that it doesn't feel small at all.
They have a punishment for every occasion.
Gangster life, puto! Quick shout out to everyone in Haywood and Santo Domingo. Lately, the Valentinos and 6th Street have had a bigger bone to pick.
6th Street. Why'd they want to wipe you?
I can't fucking stand Tinos.
Fucking suck! I've dealt with 6th Street before. We do the run, they'll transfer the cred.
Come on, let's go before 6th Street shows up. Shot! Any more Second Amendment fans in the house, huh?
Hate those bastards. Vomit lofty patriotic bullshit all day. Time to bring on the future.
Any idea how many attacks from behind the black wall we neutralized? If the Voodoo Boys breach the black wall, we'll all be fucked.
Voodoo boys. Urban myth, I thought. Just net runners spooking each other. No such gang.
You know, I heard a few things about you. The Voodoo Boys, best runners in town.
You do not steal from the Voodoo Boys. I see you, always.
For them, Pacifica's just Haiti.
And see, that was my other concern. I'll probably be playing mine because I could play high with recommended via the recommended specs. I'll probably play mine on medium 1080p or even low, which is still 1080p. It still looks beautiful. It's just
2.0. Their own island, cut off from the rest of the city.
This is our turf, our home. Until last week, the animals crawled in.
Animals are the craziest fucking gang in the city.
Breaker skull!
Animals aren't the play here, are they? They're hired muscle. Someone else needed them.
I fucked you over, you fucked the gang over. Somewhere at the start of the story, somebody fucked the corp. See how this works now?
so that's very much a that's a neat little entanglement. You fucked the gang over, they fucked you over, somebody fucked Corpo over, so all of us intertwine with each other. Nice. Yeah, I can't wait to get. We'll finish this, and I'm gonna ask you a question or two.
My husband's new Westbrook, very high in the tiger claws. They did what made the best eddies, sold sex and black market tech.
See a lot of tigers. They run this place.
Know what else they do well? Break the knees of people who ask questions.
I gotta do something!
Shut the fuck up! The tigers will kill us. Come on, baby.
Tiger claws killed one girl too many, so people took matters into their own hands.
Folk went ballistic. Girls, pimps, outcasts, the whole freak show. It's how the Mox got started.
Like you're some kind of gangoon now, huh?
Us Moxes have each other's back. We look out for one another. You looking for some company tonight?
How'd you hook up with the Mox?
I thought Susie and the gang could really change something in this city.
Moxes and nomads don't seem so different. Both seem to yammer a lot about community, solidarity. Tell me about the Badlands. Not much going on out here, huh?
Au contraire. This is an ecosystem.
Oh, wow.
Nomads wrapped in shiv.
See, that looks like some Mad Max stuff right there when it showed them. It looked like Mad Max type characters right there.
This is an ecosystem. Nomads wrapped in shiv, corporations, and drifters. They form a complete whole. Remove one part, the delicate balance topples.
Here in the Aldecaldos, it all stays in the family.
Classic dilemma. What comes first? Family or the outside world?
This family will go to hell and back.
Everyone in this city lives in their own bubble, and either you fly high or sink into quicksand.
And that was back when it was supposed to come out November 19th. All right, so I'm gonna be honest with you. When I start the game, I'm gonna take and make a character, and I want to take and put most of the stuff in stealth and intelligence. Well, either I can try to talk myself out of things or sneak past everything. I know you'll have to take and do guns and stuff like that, but as much as possible, try to take and get through without doing it. Even using the cybernetics and stuff like that to hack and overheat and do whatever needs to be done to get past people. Yeah, that's what I planned on doing. Taking and turn it off for the recording and stuff like that. I want to take and do a playthrough of each three types. My understanding is each lifestyle that you take and play as, whether it be nomad or corpo or street kid, you take and play all three, and you get different save files for each of them. So that means you're not going to overwrite one with another, which is awesome. Really, really awesome. I think that's another point they did kind of it with content creators in mind and stuff like that. I want to take and do a build where it's all like brawn and gun use, and another that's kind of just like multi-use, or, you know, multi-purpose. And see, I like games like that. You can take and play with hacking without any guns and stuff like that. Play with hacking and stuff like that. I like that. A lot of people are like, I don't understand why they did it as first person, blah, blah. I understand the reason why they did it. I think they did it first person so you could see from a first person point of view the beauty that they took and built into the game itself, like the details and things like that. Because some of that stuff gets lost in the wash whenever you take and are playing from a third person point of view. You see that even with games like Assassin's Creed Valhalla. You take and put it that's just my personal point of view. You play games, not saying there's not a bunch of beautiful games out there in third person, but I find a lot of them are like that. Oh, that's pretty cool. Take and switch your life path and stuff like that. So that way you're not, if you start playing as one and another style fits you, that's pretty neat. But I like the fact that coming from them taking and basing this off of and pulling lore and everything else like that off of tabletop, looking at the skill trees that they've shown and stuff like that, and it just seems to me that this would be one of those games that's almost like a perfect, not exactly a perfect, but it'd be like a very good representation of a tabletop game, a tabletop RPG, due to its role-playing options, due to how immersed you can get within world. Because if you play tabletop RPGs and you've got a really good GM or DM, depending on which play style you take and play, whether it be White Wolf or D&D or Fate or something like that, or Pathfinder, Rift, GURPS, I could take and go on and on with the different tabletop RPG games that you can play in the systems and stuff like that. You can get a good GM, you're going to be immersed pretty well into a game because the descriptiveness of everything, the freedom of choice that you have to take and go about doing things, because they've got a set storyline, they've got a set campaign that they've got set forth for you to do, but you've also got the freedom to take and move away from that to take and do things that interest you or run into side quest missions and meet NPCs and develop relationships with them and stuff like that happens in tabletop role-playing games. And it seems like that's exactly the kind of top-down approach they've taken with this on the nuts and bolts of everything. See, I like that. That's going to be really, really, that's going to turn a lot of people off. Not even gonna lie. That's going to turn folks off. They've never had to do something like a skill check where of course, you're not going to be taking and actually in a game rolling your 20-sided die for an intelligence check or something like that, but it being the same kind of concept and depending on, with how they take and do the skill checks and stuff like that, it's the same deal, same concept. I like that. I like the fact there's skill checks in it, which gives it, that's definitely a tabletop RPG type thing. So I have a feeling they made this top-down nuts and bolts within the gameplay and within the storylines and the interactions that you have with NPCs and everything like that as much as possible to take and resemble without actually resembling a tabletop RPG. To give you that immersiveness, that player choice, that player freedom that you take and get from a tabletop RPG. And you saying that really sets me at ease with a lot of stuff, even though I really wasn't worried about it. Just even read the negative reviews. And they're not really so negative in the gameplay aspect. It's just a lot of it didn't make sense to them. That's the reason why it doesn't make sense to them, right? That right there. All this player choice is the reason why it doesn't make sense to them. Completely. See, and that's what I heard too. You take and use the skills, that way you level up and everything like that. And see, that's going like second edition, 1.5 edition D&D type stuff, which if I'm not mistaken, it's basically Cyberpunk is a D20 system. and that's the way you actually leveled up skills and stuff like that. So yeah, that's definitely right up my alley. That's definitely right in my wheelhouse of stuff I love, and I've bitched and complained I don't see enough of in video games. I've said for a long time, man, I love playing these RPGs, but they don't play nothing like an actual tabletop RPGs. I'd love to see one play like an actual tabletop RPG with some of these skills and stuff like that, and have to take into use. So that right there is, if you've got to take and use different skills to take and level those skills up. So like if you're going to take and be hacking and stuff like that, one of the ways you level it up is taking hack different security systems and the cams and the cameras and everything, the CCTV cameras and people's even I guess stuff that you can hack into people's cybernetics and stuff like that, and you level it up by doing that repeatedly. That's, bro, I can't wait. That's just making me even more hyped for it. But that's exactly what a skill check is, though, because if you don't have a high enough, let's say you're taking and playing a tabletop role playing game, and one of the things you can do is hijack a car. Well, if you don't have enough dexterity, like if your dex check for like taking and actually breaking into the car, taking like use your thief tools or whatever, if it's not high enough with the difficulty level, then you're not going to pass. You got lower level help, lower chance of success than what you would if you had high enough within that. But even with the strength aspect, so you just kind of muscle your way into it, whether it be breaking out a window or just ripping the dang thing open, that makes sense as well, because another player might try the same thing, and if their character's built differently, the check for them is going to be different, because they'll be like, I'm going to try to this number right here, and if it's not high enough, you're more than likely going to take and fail it, because it doesn't matter what you roll. That difficulty level that you got to take and do the skill check, that's pretty well a skill check. Just, it sounds like, without some of the RNG. No, I do not, and I've looked at it. I've looked at getting that before. I do take and run a D&D campaign with my brother and some of his buddies. Taking play. So yeah, we played, and actually it's one of my homegrown. Basically, it's a homebrew campaign. But now I haven't played that tabletop simulator. I looked at it. I was like, that's interesting. I'll definitely have to look into that then. So, but yeah, I'm so ready for this game. And even with the negative, the 7 out of 10, most of the reviews that I've seen, 5 out of 5, 10 out of 10, 9 out of 10, 4 out of 5. So, like I said, I think some of these journos went in with a biased viewpoint, slanted point of view due to their own personal beliefs and some of the controversy that's come out over the game. I definitely cannot wait to take and get immersed in this and take and just already, for anybody that subscribed to the channel that runs through this and you runs into this after the stream is over with, I warned you once already. This is the second warning we'll give, and I'm going to take and put out another video tomorrow. Just letting y'all, just giving y'all a heads up. This game drops. Expect a ton more of this kind of content than the reactions. I'm not going to stop with the reactions, but they're not going to be quite as hard and heavy, because I've been waiting on this for 8 years. This is what I'm going to put a lot of my time and attention into, because I've got numerous ideas for the content I can put out off of this game. So, just fair warning. And see, I've seen that too. And I've seen it looks like a reskin of GTA. No, it don't. Not to me at least. I mean, just because they've shown a lot of driving and stuff like that within the trailers. I think that's where a lot of people are pulling that from, but don't think that's, I never thought that was the case, but I've seen a lot of people say that, and I think a lot of people are going to be surprised. I think a lot of people are also going to be, they're not going to know how to handle the role-playing elements within this, depending on how deep they get into it. If they're just going to take and bang out the storyline, or they take and do it in 30 or 40 hours, they're going to be, I think, a little bit disappointed. They might love the storyline, but they might be disappointed with the length of the game. Whereas if they take and actually dabble with all the side quests and the gigs and the different like NPCs that you can interact with and do missions with and for and stuff like that, that they can develop so you can see their character development as well as your own and the way they interact with you because of the choices made. I think people have a lot better viewpoint of it. So that being said, I think I'm going to end on that. Cannot wait for this game to come out. Y'all might wind up taking and get another video on Cyberpunk before Wednesday. So just letting you know. Oh no, I've yet to take and get things on point with the keyboard and mouse. I take and play most of my games on here with this. So, but yeah, appreciate everyone that showed up. Greatly appreciated. Like I didn't want to take and go extremely long with this because there's a lot of information that's already out there. It's just as me, I'm hyped. It's like, take a look at this with all y'all, and then to let everybody know, come Thursday, you're going to see a stark difference in probably the coloring of the thumbnails on the channel. There's going to be a lot, and I mean a lot, of Cyberpunk content come to this channel. Streaming, gameplay, walkthroughs, viewpoints on it, and everything else like that. My takes on how they did different aspects and how that would translate from a tabletop. How like a GM might actually run a mission like a quest like that you take and play in the game. How a GM might have actually took and run that within a tabletop setting. I'm gonna do videos like that as well. So, y'all have a very lovely evening. Thank you to Rod J. Thank you to 6 people that are watching right now. Thanks, Trevor. Appreciate it. Stop with that, like for real. I was trying to take and click on All Right Man from Trevor, and that fucking shit happened. Fuck people like that. Like for real. If you're one of those people like that, fuck you. I've got no time for you. If you're somebody that I know that I've pissed off, well, fuck you double. Simple as that. Take and do that shit. Fuck you. Apologies to the people that seen that shit, because that was not my intention to take and actually to show that. That popped up as I went to take and show Trevor's All Right Man. Fucking piece of shit people. I swear to God. God damn it. Tell you what, if I find out that you were sitting here by somebody, if I find out you were sitting here by somebody that I know, you're fucked. That's all I'm going to say. You're fucked. And that person's fucked too. Because I take and download shit as a reference. So, and I keep records of just about everything. So fuck you. That being said, thanks for everybody that showed up. Y'all all have a lovely one. Be good to each other. Love you.